Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been such a pleasure and such an insightful day already. It's my first trip to Korea, and I'm really excited to learn everything I've learned so far. So my name is Preeti Chalsani, and I work at an organization called Intersect, Illinois, which is an economic development organization for the state of Illinois. So the mission of the organization is to bring jobs and investments and industry to Illinois to help the economy grow. So the fact that my role exists as Chief Quantum Officer for the state of Illinois is a testament to the seriousness of quantum for Illinois. Like, this is something that's not just a scientific or a technology mission for us, but it's really, truly about the economy of Illinois. So this is a very international audience, so I'm not going to assume that everyone knows where Illinois is, so I just want to take a minute to place it in context. So Illinois is a large Midwestern state that's sort of in the heart of the US. It's the fifth largest economy in the US. Chicago is the biggest city. That is the third largest city in the US. And the state itself is the 18th largest economy in the world. So it's a very important state for the US. And it's really, really well connected both nationally and globally, which is why it's a real center for industry and economic development for the state of for the US. And over the last few years, Illinois has really emerged as a global technology hub. And I want to spend the next few minutes telling you a little bit about what it is that makes Illinois a place that's considered a global technology hub. So I'll talk about the foundational assets, some of the ecosystem catalysts that have helped to leverage these assets, the private and public support we've had, and a recent initiative, which is Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park. So everything starts with research and just the foundational basics. Quantum technologies is an emerging technology, but it didn't come out of nowhere. It's built on decades of research in mathematics, computer science, physics, materials, chemistry, and a whole range of engineering disciplines. And Illinois happens to have some really powerhouse institutions where all of these disciplines have taken root, and Illinois has really been leading in that. Argonne and Fermilab are two of the Department of Energy national labs. Both Fermilab is the particle accelerator. Argonne has a very historic place in the history of science, including the Manhattan Project. University of Chicago, Northwestern, University of Illinois, all powerhouse science and engineering institutions. These institutions have had pioneering contributions in many areas that led to quantum. Things like semiconductors, lasers, LEDs, math and physics inventions, all came out of these institutions for decades. Over the last few years, what's changed is that the institutions have really been working together and have recognized that quantum technologies will have a really important place in the future of society. And we've really taken leadership in coming together and collaboratively making things happen in the region to the benefit of the US and the nation. And this isn't just me saying it. When the National Quantum Initiative was founded in 2018, $1.2 billion were appropriated. The Department of Energy and NSF each funded 5 centers. It was a competition nationwide. Off those 10 centers, 4 are based in Illinois. As you can see, there's no other concentration like that anywhere else in the state. This is kind of just a testimony to what I was just mentioning before. Now, these institutions haven't just been doing research over the last few years. They've been developing state-of-the-art infrastructure, things that you can't find easily elsewhere. And there's a concentration of that in our region. Things like there's 2 supercomputing centers, one at Argonne, one at UIUC. We have very top-class, state-of-the-art facilities for fabrication, materials characterization, quantum test beds, materials foundry, one of the longest quantum networks in the world, and it's increasing, and it's still increasing. And our most recent initiative, the Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park, that I will tell you about. All of these things don't just reflect the infrastructure, but what you should really think about is the expertise that comes with building this infrastructure. It's right there, available for industry, for researchers to leverage as they're building their quantum technologies. Illinois, through its efforts in building these world-class programs, has also built up a world-class STEM and quantum talent pool. UChicago launched the first PhD program in quantum science. This is back in 2013. We have top 10 engineering and STEM programs. We're second in the US for the number of quantum-relevant graduate degrees awarded. And not just that, as you think about the technology and the industry maturing, you need to think about expanding that talent pool. And in fact, Illinois has the 3rd largest community college system, which already works very closely with our research-intensive institutions. There is a large effort in the state to make education more inclusive and to broaden the talent pool. In addition to the STEM talent pool, our region really has one of the largest pools for business and entrepreneurial talent. 2 of the world's top 10 business schools, UChicago's Booth Business School and Northwestern's Kellogg Business School, are based in the city of Chicago. And not only that, not only do they churn out really top-class business talent, but these business programs are also providing opportunities for the MBA students to immerse themselves in quantum experiences. Many of the students intern with quantum companies and end up working full-time for them. This combination of STEM and business talent and the quantity of it is really hard to find anywhere else in the world. And very importantly, there's a large effort in the state to bring quantum awareness to the public through programs that are directed at kindergarten through 12th grade, towards high school teachers, and even the general public. So in fact, we have Professor Paul Kwiat at University of Illinois, who's developed a lab escape game that's meant to convey quantum principles to the public. At University of Chicago, there's a program that conveys quantum principles using casino games. There's many other innovative programs like that that have really made quantum sort of something that the public is aware of. And that, too, I think, is very unique in Illinois. So I talked a little bit about the foundational assets. But really, in order for a region to really develop in any industry, you need to have catalysts. And we've been very fortunate to have some visionary organizations like the Chicago Quantum Exchange, which is one of the earliest and largest quantum consortia that brings together universities, national labs, industry, and nonprofits. It's a real convening force for scientific and technical experts, domain experts, policymakers, startups, investors, and all sectors. And over the years, this has played a huge role in bringing quantum to the public in Illinois and bringing Illinois to the global stage. We also have Duality, which is the first startup accelerator program in the US that's focused exclusively on quantum. 20 startups from across the world have come through this program over the last 4 years. They've raised over $30 million, which is really significant considering that this is for early stage startups. Chain Reactions Innovations, another innovative program that's based out of Argonne, and it's funded by the Department of Energy. In addition to that, our universities are really there's a real deep culture of commercialization. There's programs like Northwestern's INVO and the Polsky Center at U Chicago promote commercialization and are really helping quantum come out of the labs into companies and into the marketplace. In addition to that, we have other innovative programs like a manufacturing innovation hub, a biomedical consortium, all of which are sort of starting to work in the quantum space, helping to bring quantum to other sectors and helping to commercialize quantum. And the last thing I'll mention just very quickly is that quantum in Illinois is important for economic development. And it's very unique in Illinois that economic development organizations like my own, like P33, like World Business Chicago, are deeply involved in this effort and support and advocate for quantum and for Illinois. We have really been very successful in engaging industry. None of this is possible unless you can engage industry in our efforts. This is just an example of some of our success stories. IBM and Google have funded large initiatives. We've had funding from philanthropic investors, most recently for a quantum biology program. The Wellcome Trust Foundation, which is a global public health organization, had launched a very competitive program exploring quantum computing for biological sciences. In the first phase, out of 12 projects that were funded, 2 were out of Chicago. We also have a lot of other types of public funding, including from VCs, who are looking for more and more opportunities to support startups, to support efforts in Illinois, because that leverages the efforts that are already taking place. And I should mention, as I'm in Korea, I really want to share that there is an MOU between University of Chicago, Seoul National University, and University of Tokyo to cooperate on a range of quantum science and technologies. And I really want to, things like this take a long time, but conferences like this are opportunities to make this happen, to figure out where there's opportunities for collaborations and to engage further. And I welcome a chance to meet with any of you after this. In addition to the private sector support, we've been very successful in receiving federal support, without which none of this would be possible. I already mentioned that 4 of the 10 National Quantum Initiative Act centers are based in Chicago. Most recently, DARPA, and Celia talked about the DARPA Quantum Benchmarking Initiative program, so I'll glaze over that. But the same QBI program has a partnership with Illinois, where both Illinois and DARPA are each funding $140 million towards quantum computing companies and projects that are bringing quantum computing towards utility. And even more uniquely, it's not just through funding, but we're working closely with our organizations like the FBI and the State Department to explore how we can continue to advance quantum computing and quantum technologies, but also stay within, the security of export control and security issues. And last but not least, what is really unique about Illinois is that it was really the first state in the US to fund quantum technologies and quantum efforts to this level. The state first funded quantum efforts in 2019, and that was $200 million. To date, they've put in more than $700 million towards quantum efforts, which is really unique. And again, I think it highlights the state's seriousness about this effort. I always love to put up this picture of our governor in dark glasses. Here he's seen at a lab in U Chicago visiting Professor Peter Maurer, who's a world expert in quantum sensing. But he does not give up any chance to go into labs and see what's happening. He asks questions about quantum error correction, and it's really unique to him. He was a VC before he became a politician, and I think it really tells in the kinds of policies he's supported. In addition to that funding, Illinois has put quantum computing in the 5-year economic plan, which means all our policies and laws will be directed towards advancing these efforts. We've created a suite of incentives to support quantum innovation. I won't go through the list, but happy to chat more with you about it. As a result of all these efforts, we have really grown our quantum industry. In 2018, when I first moved to Chicago, there was one quantum startup in the state. Now we have over 20. I'm only showing some of these. And the state sits in a region which includes Wisconsin, Indiana, and others, which is like the Midwest is becoming a real engine for commercialization. And even more importantly and interestingly, what makes the state a really great place for advancing quantum commercialization is the very diverse industry base. Quantum is an emerging technology. For any emerging technology, in order to explore use cases and applications, you need to have different industry sectors at hand so that you can work closely with them to explore these applications. And Illinois has over 30 Fortune 500 companies. It's the most diverse industry base in the US. No one industry sector represents more than 14% of the economy. And as you'll see, if I have time to go into it, we're working really closely with different industry sectors, not just companies, but industry sectors, to try to explore quantum applications. And many of these companies across the state are starting to explore quantum applications. And the last couple minutes, I want to make sure I have some time to tell you about our most ambitious initiative, launched just last year, is this Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park. It's based on a $500 million investment from the state. And the idea behind this is to invest in infrastructure that can help companies, help startups advance these technologies. It's not investments in the companies themselves, but in infrastructure that can be leveraged by companies. This is a large park, 130 acres, about 13 miles from downtown Chicago, about 6 miles from the U Chicago campus. It's currently just a greenfield, gorgeous park, but we're currently developing this to include many different things that I'll tell you about in a second. It's actually very poignant, very important that it's set on the site of a former steel factory that closed in the mid-90s. Symbolically, this is very important for the state. It's building a new industry on top of an old industry. The park, again, 130 acres, set right on Lake Michigan, has many unique infrastructure and resources. One, we're building a national quantum facility, which is a 40,000 square foot facility, which will have state-of-the-art equipment that can be leased by companies. So you can walk in and start operating without having to wait or without having to invest in expensive dilution fridges and expensive control electronics and things like that. There's also space in it for companies to set up their own facilities. we're working with the State Department, with FBI, with DARPA to set up enhanced physical and cyber security. This project will be completed in 2027 and will include many other shared user facilities. The park will also have an industrial-scale cryoplant. This is very unique. There's only 2 other places in the world that have it, one of which is Fermilab. And this cryoplant will provide a range of low-temperature solutions for quantum computing companies that are looking to scale. PsiQuantum, for example, is going to be in this park so that they can leverage this industrial-scale cryoplant. We'll have a supplier facility to support enabling technology companies, so you can have co-development of supply chain technologies in conjunction with quantum technologies. The DARPA QBI program that Celia talked about will be based here, at least the part that is in partnership with Illinois. We're also building a National Quantum Algorithm Center. Again, Celia had mentioned the importance of algorithms. We truly believe that the key to unlocking utility and advantage for quantum computing lies in being able to explore and develop more algorithms. So we're bringing together, in some very unique programs, we're bringing together researchers from universities, national labs, and companies with industry sectors and companies across these industry sectors. We're developing a number of workforce development programs in partnership with companies. The park will have other, in addition to the shared facilities, it will have other built-to-suit facilities built by companies. And because we're in Illinois, we have access to adequate water and power and transportation, all of which is necessary for companies looking to grow and scale. As I'd mentioned, the park will finish construction in 2027. But we're already starting operations in the interim in existing facilities. We call it an on-ramp. And currently, what can I announce? We've already announced DARPA and the QBI performers who will be there. PsiQuantum was the first company we'd announced. They're building a large facility with a utility-scale computer. IBM will host a team of 50 algorithms experts and will have their quantum system 2 based there, working closely in the National Quantum Algorithm Center. And most recently, we announced Dirac, which is an Australian quantum computing company that will do their DARPA work at the park. The park, however, is open to support all kinds of companies, researchers, suppliers, and end users. And I welcome anyone to come talk to me if you're interested to know more. And just last but not least, we're in the design stage, and we're coming at some of the designs for the facilities are very cool. Like this one that shows the National Quantum Facility. The gray parts are sort of reflecting the past, the steel industry, and the sort of the gold columns reflect, dilution fridges and the new quantum industry. That's it, my last slide. I want to thank you for your time. Please come up and talk to me if you have any questions. And I invite you to come visit us in Chicago for a couple of exciting events later this year. And I'll just leave this. It's a kind of a synopsis.
Okay.